We got to bring up this fantastic video of Aaron Butler surprising Coach Prime on Instagram Live with this commitment. You can tell Deion, of course, was excited. Then he starts to kind of move out of the frame because he's very aware of those potential NCAA rule violations. I think this remained above board, though. Either way, though, with Butler in the fold, 5 total commitments in this class. Greg, what grade would you hand Colorado?
Yeah, Aaron Butler surprised me as well. I had my crystal ball still on Oregon, so
Ooh.
thanks a lot, Aaron Butler, for the lack of a heads up there. I'm going to give him an A, right? I love what they're doing in the transfer portal. I know much was made about the guys that were leaving the program. I think Deion always had a plan, and talking to some of the players, it sounds bad to say he was kind of weeding some guys out, but he wanted to bring his own guys in. So I think he has done that. Hit the portal hard again today. Brought in a pretty elite JUCO running back. I think they can come in and play right now. Not a JUCO, a transfer running back from Houston. But Aaron Butler's the headliner. I mean, he's good. I think he's really good. He's going to play for anybody. Your Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State's top 100 kid. And for me, he's your headliner. But, just the energy that the staff has had, and just it's been amazing to sit here and talk Colorado football and talk about Colorado football recruiting. We haven't done that maybe ever for me, and I've been doing this almost 30 years. So just the buzz they generated, I got to give them an A just for that. But they're bringing in some dudes, so I kind of like what they're doing.
GB, Oregon didn't get Aaron Butler, but Dan Lanning has things rolling in the right direction. Number 7 overall nationally in the recruiting class rankings, and they could add a few more names this weekend. What are you giving the Ducks on the grading sheet?
Give him an A+, right? I don't know what I put down. If it was an A, I'm going to make it an A+, just because I'm feeling generous right now. Obviously, you kind of alluded Andrew Van Buren, a quarterback that I like a lot. It could be their quarterback of the future coming in this weekend. The crystal ball is kind of heavily leaning toward those Ducks, Blair and Emily. So, again, so much energy from that staff. Dan Lanning all the way down would be Tosh Lupoy, Demetrius Martin. And right now, I think Oregon, you got to mention them as one of those few schools, again, you say the Ohio States, the Alabamas of the world, where if you get an offer from Oregon, whether you're in Southern California, you're in New York, you're in Texas, man, that Oregon offer resonates now, and it creates so much buzz. And they are an absolute player for anybody in the country. I like what they're doing so far, and I love who they kind of currently lead for. Don't want to give away the answers to the test, but I think Oregon right now gets an A+ from me.
All right, let's go to Southern California. Things have been a little slow for Lincoln Riley to start this cycle. They lost the Rayola sweepstakes, only have 3 commits right now, but they do have the highest ranking per commit in the conference, and are still in play for many more top guys. So what grade do you give USC as of where they are right now in May?
How about an A? Let's just throw it out there. I'm just, everyone gets an A for me right now. I'm, again, feeling good. And yeah, a little small on the commit list, but again, I think they're in place for a lot of guys. I haven't thrown out a lot of crystal balls, but I think they lead for a handful of guys. They're in the top 5. I think for Aiden Breland, probably a top 2 or 3 for a guy like Marcellus Williams, Xavier Brown, Dakota Fields. Again, another national brand. They're able to go out and recruit from a national standpoint. Quarterback, who wouldn't want to play for Lincoln Riley? Obviously, Dylan Raiola did not, but I'm curious to see, they already have a trip with local boy Elijah Brown from Mater Dei, same school. Matt Barkley and Matt Leinart both had some significant success at USC. So Elijah Brown looking at Stanford, looking at UCLA. I think if USC goes, full court press, I think they have a great chance of bringing Elijah, who's a top 10 quarterback nationally. So yeah, small on the commit list right now, but I have no concern that by December, it could be a definite top 10 class. And I love what they're doing in the portal as well. So that's why I kind of give that grade a little bit of a bump. Let's go give them an A.
Greg, staying in the Pac-12 South, Kenny Dillingham has brought a lot of juice to ASU. It was a dream job of his. He's a local boy from Scottsdale, Arizona, and he wants to activate the Valley. He's said that time and time again, and it's a thing that they've been doing on the recruiting trail. They've been a bit more active, but only 3 commitments to show for it. So are you breaking out the red Sharpie for the Sun Devils? What grade are you giving them?
Let's give them a B+, right? And that's probably generous. I like what they're doing in Texas. 3 of their 4 commitments are from Texas. And, both Arizona schools have always been able to recruit Texas pretty heavy. Kenny Dillingham, you talk about energy. Man, he came in, and every guy that I've talked with out here in Southern California, the Helton twins, a couple of big-time offensive linemen from Centennial, California, even going back to last year when they got Jaden Rashada. I think Dilly kind of announced his presence with authority, bringing in Jaden Rashada, who I love as a quarterback and as a future prospect. But yeah, talk to kids that have visited ASU, and they just say the vibe's different. And everywhere I go, whether it be a showcase, I always see 2 or 3 ASU coaches, offensive line coach Saga Tuatelli doing an unbelievable job. I expect them to have a really strong offensive line class. So B plus for now. And again, I think, what they're doing in Texas is big. I think their portal is going to be good. And I love the vibe. I love the energy they're putting out there. And I'm impressed with right now with ASU. So let's give them a nice little generous B plus. Not bad, right? 88%, if I can remember correctly what a B plus was. So let's go with that.
All right, let's roll through your grades for the Pac-12 and our poor graphics team. Greg, you told us earlier in the day what your grades are, and you've bumped everybody up since then. So we've got all these A's, all these B's, but you see at the tail end here in the Pac-12, there are some C's. There are some room for improvement. That's technically average, but as we all know, anytime you saw a B or a C on your report card, not super happy about that. So let's quickly roll through the rest of these 8 classes, starting with Arizona and Utah. Those are 2 of the 4 corner schools that we have yet to discuss. Jedd Fisch, done well taking over in Tucson, and Kyle Whittingham, of course, doing awesome, coming off a great 2023 cycle, 2 Pac-12 titles. You've given Arizona a B plus and Utah a B as of, what you originally told us. Of course, it's up for interpretation. You can continue to change that. So A, are those still the ones that the grades that you want to go with? And also, please explain.
Yeah, I'm not going to change it up a little bit. I think I must have been in a bad mood when I gave the original grades. I'm feeling good today.
You got your coffee in you. You're much happier.
It's a good day talking to you two. So all is good. No, I mean, again, Arizona. I keep saying this new staff energy, right? I call it new believer zeal. And Jedd Fisch came in there, and he's got a really good staff. And again, I love for me, talking to kids, right? The first thing I ask is, hey, who's recruiting you the hardest? And many kids will say Arizona. And never used to hear that before. What do you like about Arizona? And it's always just nothing but, hey, it's family. It's a family environment. There's a lot of good young talent in the state of Arizona. I think both Arizona schools need to do a good job of kind of trying to keep that talent home. But no, I think Arizona's going to do well. They had 2 of their best recruiting classes ever the last 2 years. And Utah, again, Utah for me, if they have 0 commitments or 10, in my head, I'm not going to change it up, but they do everything the right way. I'm going to give them an A in my head. I'm going to stick with the grade. I go to a college showcase, right? And a lot of these coaches are kind of schmoozing around. I'll try to be quick with the thought. But then you see Utah coaches. They're with their notebooks. They got a pen in their hand. They're not schmoozing with other coaches. They're out there watching diligently, taking notes, writing stuff down. Man, they're all business. And I say it every year, they make us look bad every year because their players outperform our ranking. They do such a great job of developing and evaluating. So for me, whatever grade we gave Utah, it deserves a bump because they're going to do a great job of coaching those kids up. And I just love the way Utah does things.
And moving on to UCLA and Oregon State, they both scored big in the 2023 class at the quarterback position. 5-star Dante Moore to the Bruins, 4-star Aiden Childs to the Beavers. They're off to slower starts here in 2024, only 3 commitments apiece. You gave UCLA a B minus and Oregon State a C. What has you giving those schools those grades?
That was harsh on those Beavs. Let's go C plus, just because it sounds better. You know what? UCLA, Blair, we talked about this before. They always kind of leave you wanting more, right? UCLA is such a great school. And you just, again, kind of talking about, kids and what they say. UCLA, not one of those schools that you often hear players say, yes, they're recruiting me the hardest. And it's an easy sell. Kids love the staff when they get on campus. I just talked to several players who tripped the last couple of weeks. Daniel Williams, last night, big-time linebacker, Long Beach Poly, Christian Dunbar-Hawkins, Mark Schroller has committed. These guys get there like, man, Chip Kelly's awesome. I love Ken Norton. Man, they love everything about it. So it kind of just makes you think, man, if UCLA, and obviously NIL is always going to be a little bit of an issue from them, but you kind of just always want a little bit more. I'm not going to use the word effort, but you just want them to maybe recruit just a little bit harder because, again, I think it's an easy sell. Quarterback-wise, again, mentioned Elijah Brown for USC. UCLA, he did take a visit there officially, loved it. So we'll see if UCLA can kind of pull him in. And then Oregon State, you mentioned, Aiden Childs. They're doing pretty well, I think, Oregon State with another quarterback at Etowanda, DeMarcus Davis, who we saw a few times. And again, for me, it's kind of an easy comp to Childs. They're both about 6'4", 6'5". They're both kind of late bloomers. Both have big-time arms. Both are young for their grade. Both are athletic. And I like that a lot. Kamar Mathuti, one of our top 100 players or 150 top linebacker, he's going to visit Oregon State. Oregon State has a lot of players lined up for official visits in June. So whatever the grade is right now, I think, you guys gave him a C+. I was saying C. You guys went C+. It could be a B minus maybe, right? They can close on some of these guys in June. We shall see about that.
Us guys, Greg, this is what you told us earlier in the day in our graphics team. put it all together, but that's all right. I like that you get happier throughout the day. That's a good way to be. So let's go to Stanford and Cal. Before coffee, you had a B for the Cardinal, who just have 4 commitments in Troy Taylor's first full class, and a C for Cal with just 2 commitments for Justin Wilcox. So why a B and a C if you're sticking with that for those 2 programs?
Stanford's doing a great job. And again, Stanford's one of those schools that always kind of hung back, no early offers. You got to get through admissions first. You rarely see them offering juniors. Now we're starting to see them offering a handful of sophomores. They're doing a better job getting kids on campus and, again, talking to players. And they love that new energy from Coach Taylor and the rest of the staff. And I love it too. Elijah Brown, for me, he just seems like a Stanford kind of kid. So I think Stanford's doing well. Again, I like the approach of being a little bit more aggressive. So much to sell. It's always mom and dad's favorite school. And then Cal, my guy Marshall Charrington's over there right now. They are working hard. They're trying to get a lot of guys to come up to campus. Camden Jones, a tight end commit that I do like a lot. But right now, a little bit on the slowish side for Cal in terms of bringing guys in. They did hit the portal hard, and they did well there. So hopefully that C can go up a little bit as the season progresses.
Greg, based on how you're grading some of these schools, I feel like you were the kid in class that brought the apple and left it on the teacher's desk, and you just knew, hey, this is going to give me a nice little bump.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of apples, GB, the Apple Cup, Washington and Washington State, let's wrap up with those 2 schools. You gave them a B to the Huskies and a C-. That's the lowest grade you gave out to the Washington State Cougars. What do you think of the classes so far that Kalen DeBoer and Jake Dickert have put together?
What's a heck of a segue, Blair, with that Apple little comment
well
tied into
done.
the Apple. Were you sleeping? You were sleeping on that one all last night, weren't you? Just hoping that I would kind of give these grades a bump.
You commented on my grade point average earlier, so I was just kind of trying to show you and prove you right.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
you know what? Washington, the Huskies, I'm excited about what they're doing. I think that staff, Kalen DeBoer, Courtney Morgan, Juice Brown, William Inge, doing a phenomenal job. Packy Fanau, one of my favorite offensive linemen, he's locked in. Kamar Mathudi, I mentioned him. I think it's them. And Oregon, they're doing a really good job with the wide receiver group. Washington, they're making some stuff happen. They're doing really well. I keep needing to mention it, but when a new staff comes in, they kind of just, those first couple of years, they're going all in. But this staff does a great job, not just throwing out offers, right? UW, one of the few schools that when I see an offer from UW, I know it's real. Unlike 80% of the other offers that are going out there that you can't commit to. UW, it's a real deal offer. I love that. I like the direction they're going. Washington State, again, when we do our top 12 during December or February, they're always usually kind of toward the bottom, and that's no fault of their own. They work hard. Coach Dickert and that staff, my guy Stacey Ford over there is doing a heck of a job getting involved with a lot of players. But I think it's just a tougher place, probably the toughest place to recruit to in the Pac-12. The effort is there right now. They do have a lot of guys visiting in June. So again, a little bit of a lower grade for me, but I do have hope that C- can go all the way up to, let's go C+ by the end of maybe July or August. We do this again, hopefully.
Yes, we can reevaluate. Again, this is just where they are right now in May. As we know, you can even track it on our website. Yeah, it's very fluid. We got a lot of time until we put pen to paper. Greg, I'm going to give you an A- for the segment Room to Grow.
Minus?
A-.
Ouch.
That's
I'll
really
take
good.
it.
That's really good.
I'll take it.
We'll reevaluate later on in the cycle. Thank you, Greg.